What happens when a child is labeled incorrectly and that label then sticks? Well, meet parenting and childcare expert Bethelene Hart, who knows the answer firsthand. First off, good morning. Thanks for coming in today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You have a powerful personal story about being mislabeled as a child. How did it happen and how did it impact you?
My father was a film and television director, Canadian, and we moved to California in the 60s. Mm-hmm. And I'm in a new school, and on this day we have to take a test, and in my little 8-year-old brain I think, oh, I want to be done first because I want to impress my teacher.
Impress all the new kids and the teacher, right?
And it's multiple choice, so that's easy, just circle the right answer. Unbeknownst to me, it was an IQ test. Mm. And also unbeknownst to me is the principal called my mother into his office and told her I'd scored so low that I had an intellectual disability.
Wow.
And my mother, in those days, I guess you didn't question the authority of the principal, and I was put into what was considered a remedial class, but the kids in the school called it the dummy class. Mm. And it was kind of a holding tank for all the kids that just didn't fit, you know,
right.
Behavior kids, the misfits. And I knew I didn't belong there, but my little voice wasn't louder than the principal.
So how did that impact you throughout your childhood and you know, in those, you know, really pivotal educational years?
Well, it really set me up academically because the stigma that it came with, the shame that it came with, but also it did hold me back academically because if you're in a class where the kids are really dysregulated, there's not a lot of learning going on.
Yeah.
And as I went into the older grades, they streamed us into regular class, but we still got put back into our kind of, you know, stigma classes. So I never could get away from it. And I didn't know about this label.
Yeah, you're 8, you're 9, you're 10 years of age, right?
No, and I always felt this unspoken message, you're not smart.
Right.
And the teachers just didn't give extra time for me, or I don't know, it was just a strange phenomenon. Yeah.
What are some behaviors that are most misrepresented?
Well, I'm really fortunate because I went back to school as a mature student, and early childhood education is my field, and I worked for the school board for 14 years and also for children's mental health. And what I see quite a bit is ADHD is often misdiagnosed.
Right.
When you go into school, the age gap is quite large from January to December, so you'll have a child that turns 4 in January and another child who turns 4 the following, like December.
Right.
And so often those young ones appear to have some learning disabilities or behaviors because they're still young and they haven't matured yet.
Yeah, the way the school year's set up, they could be starting school as early as 3 years of age, right?
And, you know, particularly little boys, because they have high energy, their testosterone is there, they, you know, schools are not always set up to be successful for active children.
Yes.
And a normal active kid, but it can be misrepresented as ADHD, and sometimes people are quick to go to the label because they're maybe kids that are a little harder to handle.
Right. When did you realize that, hey, I think I've been mislabeled here?
Well, I didn't know any of it until I asked my mother in my 20s, just I don't know, I just asked out of the blue. I was like, Mom, what happened? Why did I get moved to that grade 3 class? And she told me the story. And I don't think at the time it actually hit me, the implication of that, but eventually I did go back to school. When I had children, I think that was what kind of prompted. I was like, okay, I need to parent differently.
Right.
I need to be more knowledgeable, and I need to be an advocate for my kids. And when I worked for the school board, I was working in a behavioral classroom to start, and I was like, okay, I need to be an advocate for these children, be a voice for them. So it made me very sensitive, and I realized, I am smart.
Yes, good for you, and you are, absolutely. We got about 45 seconds. What's your advice to parents, educators in regards to this issue?
You know, labels are helpful in some ways in the sense that there is support in the schools. If there is a label, then there's additional funding and that kind of thing. So sometimes parents are nervous to share if they do have a label, but also to, question things. Don't just take it at face value. Maybe your child presents this way now, but down the road they don't. And just to be an advocate. Yeah,
we got to go.
Important.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate
More information on our website, chch.com/morninglive.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was great.